The Dash Cup Oval Stock Series heads to Milan, Italy for the first race of the series outside of the United Kingdom at the Autodromo Antonio Passero. The half-mile short track was built for the TM Master Cup Series in 2008 and is modeled very much after the Myrtle Beach Speedway in the U.S. state of South Carolina. There are some differences between the two tracks. AAP has more abrupt banking transitions and tighter corners in turns 2 and 3, as well as a different pit lane configuration. As for the Oval Stock Series itself, one of the biggest changes that has occurred since the last time out at Mallory Park is that Atlantic Motorsports has withdrawn from the series. Despite winning 3 of the season's first 6 races, all of the tremendous amounts of controversy surrounding that team has resulted in the team discontinuing its efforts in the series. Also missing from the entry list this week is the number 2 car for Team QuickFit, despite that car winning at Mallory Park last month with driver Matilda Dillinger. Now on to race number 1 of the Sparco Italy Dash, the 7th race of the 2015 season, where Perry Forrester is qualified on the pole position for the first time in her career. Team QuickFit only brought 2 cars here to Italy, but they have made up the front row of the grid, as her teammate Canadian Oak Treedye starts on her outside. Forrester gets a good start and leads her teammate and the rest of the 26-car field into turn number 1. Harold Smith is looking on the inside of Treedye and trying to take second place, but the 200 is going to retain that spot for now, as Forrester leads lap number 1. Further down the order, Yvonne Blancard is battling with 2 of the STSs, the 7 of Carl Astor and the 8 of Joey Claggett, but the 7 gets turned into the 43, and Blancard comes back up the track. Felipa D'Ambrosio has nowhere to go but into the door of the 43, and that's going to bring out the first caution of the race on only lap number 2. And unfortunately for Blancard, that accident is going to end his race very early. Here's another look. Claggett was running all over the back bumper of the 7 car and turned his teammate. He's very lucky he didn't wreck him. And D'Ambrosio, one of the Italian drivers in the field and the car sponsored by the race's title sponsor, Sparco, gets caught up. But D'Ambrosio and car number 050 will be able to continue on. Forrester still leads on the restart, but Oak Treedye gets a fantastic start and uses it to get a run on the inside of his teammate into turn number 1. And within half a lap, he is going to take the lead of the race. Before this year, Treedye's last race in Dash Cup was in 2013, in what was a part-time effort for Team QuickFit, but this year he is going for the championship in the Oval Stocks along with his teammate Forrester. And the 42 car of Suzette Voiron rides the wall on the restart through turns 1 and 2. She's going to lose several positions, but will not receive much damage and be able to continue on. Harold Smith currently runs in 3rd and is the highest of the 4 STS cars that are in this race. His teammate Joey Claggett, who is rather lucky that he didn't wreck himself, and Carl Astor on lap 1, is trying to work his way forward, getting around the 75 car of Stefano Spoldi, the other Italian in today's race. And another STS driver, Megan Hamilton, is trying to work her way up into 4th as she goes around the 505 of Harriet Branagh, but Branagh's not going to let the 6 car have the spot so easily, as she challenges Hamilton once again the very next lap. These two putting on a very good race for the 4th position, as car number 505 moves back into 4th, and running in 6th right behind them is the 93 of Bethan Kelly. The Williams Racing Team driver hasn't had the best of luck in the first 3 races, but is running very well here today, currently holding off the 05 of Mauro Villar. Shortly afterwards, however, Villar is going to get around Kelly on the inside of turn 3, and Joey Claggett comes from a long way back into the corner to pull up alongside of Kelly, and he is going to take a position from her as well. Megan Hamilton and Harriet Branagh are still battling fiercely for that 4th position, but cleanly as well. Hamilton has attempted the Spa GP and a few other of the one-off races over the past few years in Dash Cup, but has finally landed herself a full-time ride this season here in the Oval Stocks with STS Racing. Hamilton completes the pass on Branagh and reclaims the 4th position, at least for the time being. Looking at the flyby camera down the back straightaway, the QuickFit cars have begun to open a bit of a lead on the rest of the field as we continue to run under green. A very nice change of pace considering how crash-ridden the first 6 races of the series have been. Further towards the back, we have the 16 of JW Rooster Cogburn trying to take the 21st position away from the 59 of Frank Jansing. The 16 completes the pass on the 59 into turn number 1, and now as they run, the final 4 positions on track are all being occupied by GoldenEye racing cars. The team has not been off the pace all weekend per se, but at the moment they are being beat by every other car on track as they run in positions 22 through 25. Jaska Eriksson is the last car on track at the moment and is the first to be caught by Oak Treedie. Perry Forrester catches up to the 9 only a couple of laps later, hoping to use the lap traffic to chase down her teammate for the lead. Filippa D'Ambrosio now getting lapped by the 200. Probably very disappointing for D'Ambrosio in front of her home crowd, but there's not much she can do about all the damage that she has. And speaking of Italian drivers, Stefano Spoldi is leading a trio of VM Engineering cars, running in 10th, 11th, and 12th. Christian McMillan in the 15 is right behind the 75, and right behind him is the 14 of David Sevaldelli. And whoa, the 9 car of Jaska Eriksson getting rather close to Harold Smith as Smith comes up to lap him, but he realizes that the 5 car is there and stops moving down the track just in time. We mentioned that Suzette Doiron hit the wall earlier on in the race, but has done a great job at recovering from that little bit of adversity, currently getting around her teammate, the Canadian of Patrick Brodeur. The 200 continues to put cars a lap down. As you can see from the flyby cam, Kay Croft is the only car left between him and his teammate, but the lap traffic has not slowed down Oak Treedie. The 200 car never missed a beat after taking the lead from his teammate on the lap 8 restart, and Oak Treedie wins the first race of the Sparco Italy Dash. This is the first victory in Dash Cup for Treedie since 2012 at the New York Auto Ring. Perry Forrester, his teammate and the pole sitter, still has a fantastic day, finishing in 2nd. Harold Smith runs in 3rd the entirety of the race to round out the podium. Megan Hamilton emerges victorious in the battle for 4th over Harriet Brana. Mauro Villar finishes in 6th, Joey Claggett in 7th, Bethan Kelly in 8th. Mauricio Gallardo with a 9th place finish puts 3 of the 4 Hannigan cars in the top 10, and the Italian Stefano Spoldi rounds out the top 10, driving for VM Engineering, the only Italian team in the race. The second race of the night would see car number 5 of Harold Smith start from the pole position after running a fantastic race in race 1. On his outside is the 75 car of Stefano Spoldi, so the home crowd probably pleased to see a VM Engineering car starting on the front row. Smith gets a good jump over the 75 as the field takes the green, and Bethan Kelly got a good start herself. She started the race from the 3rd position, but is alongside Spoldi into turn number 1, and you see the 11 car of Kay Croft go into the wall off at turn number 2. Not a very good start to this race for Croft, as Smith leads the first lap with Bethan Kelly right behind him. There's lots of frantic racing behind him, including the 3rd place, where Mauro Villar goes to the inside of his teammate Harriet Brana and Stefano Spoldi to make it 3 wide. The 505 is in 3rd at the line, but Villar with the preferred line is going to take the spot in turn number 1, bringing Joey Claggett in the 8 car with him. Claggett off to a much better start than in race 1, and a couple of cars are out of line towards the back. That is the 7 of Carl Astor, making contact with Cole Winters and almost spinning him out. So it's Astor's turn to be the less than patient STS car at the start. Fortunately, no accident comes as a result. Christopher Merton bounces off the wall in turn number 2, the teammate to Kate Croft, who did the same thing on lap 1. Merton started in 4th, but has quickly dropped through the field. He's already outside the top 20 at this point. And going the other way through the field is the 02 of Perry Forrester. Neither she nor her teammate Oak Treedie started very close towards the front, but they are passing cars very quickly in the opening stages of the race. Currently working on the Hannigan Enterprises cars of Filippa D'Ambrosio and Harriet Brana. Treedie not too far behind the 02, trying to get around some VM Engineering cars. And it seems that Carl Astor feels that he hasn't roughed up Cole Winters enough. He turns the 24 into the grass, and they go hard into the outside wall on the front straightaway. The 24 goes barrel rolling into turn number 1. That's going to take Astor out of the race, as well as Cole Winters, who just got turned by the 7, tried to save the car by coming back up the track, but goes hard into the outside wall and flips wildly into turn number 1. Fortunately, nobody else is going to hit him, but it has been a very rough season in general for Cloak and Dagger Racing, and this is probably not going to make things much better. The 24 kind of pirouettes on its rear bumper into the corner. On board Mauricio Gallardo, he was pretty lucky not to hit the rear end of the 24 as it began to roll right in front of him, and same with Suzette Doiron right behind the 50 car, who barely misses hitting the 7. Fortunately, Astor and Winters are the only 2 cars in the accident, but Joey Claggett blows his engine under caution and takes another STS car out of the race. Only 2 of the 4 starters for STS now remaining, but one of them is in the lead, being the 5 of Harold Smith. The 05 of Mauro Villar started in 2nd right behind him, but Perry Forrester would immediately get around him and take over the 2nd position. Bethan Kelly now losing the 3rd spot to Villar. and right behind them, rounding out the top 5, is Oak Treedye. So both of the Team Quick Fit cars are now back in the top 5. Treedye gets around Kelly, and in the same corner gets around Vilar. So the Quick Fit cars have been very quick so far this week, no pun intended there, as Filippa D'Ambrosio gets loose off of turn 4 and nearly makes contact with Pascal Vallet. She's going to lose a couple positions to the Autosport France cars, the other one being Patrick Brodeur. And now David Savodelli is making a move to the inside of the 050 and the 88, taking 2 positions for himself, trying to bring his teammate Stefano Spoldi with him. Being a former NRC and FARC Truck Series racer, Savodelli has plenty of oval racing experience, but has not been able to finish very well so far this season. Perry Forrester has caught up to Harold Smith and is now making a run on his inside coming into turn number 1. Smith not putting up much of a fight. The 02 is clearly faster than him at this point in the race, as Forrester takes over the lead. She has not won a race so far in her Dash Cup career, but is the current points leader coming into tonight's event. And not long afterwards, Oak Treedye, her teammate, is going to make a run on Smith himself, moving to the inside in turn number 1, and Treedye will complete the pass before the end of the corner. Team QuickFit has been the team to beat all weekend long, as their 2 cars are once again running first and second with Forrester in the lead. Here's a battle resuming from the first race between Megan Hamilton in the 6 and Harriet Brannog in the 505, but they make contact off of turn 4. Brannog's in the grass and almost hits the 6 car as she comes back up onto the track. That was an excellent save by the American Brannog, and a little bit of a lapse in concentration from Megan Hamilton. Fortunately, there's no crash. Suzette Doiron currently leads the Autosport France cars, and as a matter of fact, all 3 of her teammates are running right behind her. Patrick Brodeur's in 13th, and the battle for 14th is between Yvan Blancard and Pascal Vallet. And Vallet is going to bump his teammate and turn him to the inside. Blancard makes contact with the 88 and almost spins out on the front straightaway, but he somehow manages to save the car. That was an excellent save from Yvan Blancard, as well as Pascal Vallet, even though he's the one who got into the 43. Look at how sideways the 43 car was when it came back onto the track, but he manages to keep the car under control. I'm sure Blancard does not want to get involved in another accident after dropping out of race 1 on only the 2nd lap. Filippa D'Ambrosio and Stefano Spoldi are running together in the midfield, trying to work their way forward. D'Ambrosio not running as well as her Hannigan once again, her Hannigan Enterprises teammates. And right in front of her, David Savodelli is now going to make contact with his teammate Christian McMillan. Contact between the 15 and the 14 as McMillan comes back on the track, and Savodelli's in the outside wall. And he rides the concrete all around turn 1 and 2, and that's going to cost him a few positions. Somehow it's not going to hurt his car's performance, but again, he loses a few positions in the process. That's the 4th time this race where a car has been turned into the front stretch grass, but fortunately only one of them has resulted in an accident and a subsequent retirement of a car from the event, as Perry Forrester is facing pressure for the lead from her teammate Oak Treedye. The race 1 winner wants to complete the weekend sweep, but Forrester wants the first win of her career and wants to extend that points lead of hers as well. And once again, it may come down to lap traffic as Forrester catches up to the GoldenEye racing car of Jeremy Rothbauer. She and Treedye are going to dispose of him fairly quickly and continue trying to lap the other GoldenEye cars, who are once again having a very poor showing in this race. And there's a car in the wall right in front of the leaders. There's actually 2 cars in the wall. The lapped cars have gotten together right in front of the leaders, but fortunately neither of them are caught up in it. Forrester is going to lead her teammate back to the caution with only 5 laps to go, and Forrester's actually the one who caused that crash. She got into the back of Nausicaa Lagunov off of turn 4 and turned her down to the inside. There was no way that the 29 was going to get slowed down for the corner in time while running through the grass. She did a great job of keeping the car under control as long as she could, but there was just no way that she was going to keep from coming back up on track, and she takes J.W. Cogburn into the wall. I really don't understand why Forrester felt so pressured to move the 29 car out of her way. As we're looking at the aerial camera now, you can see that she had plenty of room to pass Lagunov on the inside, but she seemed inclined to turn the 29 car and bring out the caution. That should have been the last thing that Forrester would want to happen to her, because rather than securing her the victory, it's going to force the race into a green-white checkered. Car 02 leads the field back to the line, but as is standard with green-white checkers in Dash Cup, the field will be reduced to the remaining lead lap cars. 18 of the 26 starters in this case, and will be lined up double file for one final restart and a 2-lap shootout to the finish. Here are the 8 drivers who will not be able to take that restart: Rothbauer, Cogburn, and Lagunov, not able to finish on the lead lap, and the rest of the drivers did not finish the race. We have failed to mention during the broadcast that Mauricio Gallardo lost his engine while the field was pacing under the first caution, and that Jaska Eriksson experienced a problem before the green flag and was not able to start the race. With a 2-lap addition to the advertised 50 and the 18 remaining cars lined up and ready to go, Race 8 of the championship is about to be decided. The Team Quick-Fit cars of Perry Forrester and Oak Treedye lead the field to the final green flag of the night as we begin the green-white checkered here in Italy. Harold Smith has gotten a fantastic start from 3rd place, and Forrester drifts up the track in turn 2. Smith goes to the inside, and there's a few cars out of line in the back and headed for the inside, but at the front of the field, Harold Smith has taken the lead of the race, and coming to the white flag, now has just one more lap to go. The Quick Fit cars battle for second behind him, and Oak Treedye makes a run for the lead now. Into turn 1, he gets a fantastic run into the corner. He was not very close to Harold Smith as they enter the turn, but he brakes much later and manages to hold his line on the inside anyways. A clean pass. Treedye's back in the lead with 1 lap to go as there's another car getting turned behind them. Treedye has completed the pass. Forrester is right on his back bumper, but there's not enough time for her to do anything. Oak Treedye takes the victory and sweeps the weekend here in Italy. Treedye winning the 2nd race of the Sparco Italy Dash in a very thrilling green-white checkered finish. Here's the first incident that happened on the first lap of the green-white checkered. Stefano Spoldi gets turned by David Savoldelli to the inside and smashes into the end of the pit wall. Suzette Doiron got turned to the inside as well. She went into the pit lane, as well as Patrick Brodeur, her teammate, but the 75 smashed into the end of the wall at very high speed. We do hope that Spoldi is okay. And it wouldn't take long for Karma to come back to Savoldelli. He gets turned on the front stretch by Pascal Vallet, and Yvon Blancard, Cade Croft, and Frank-Jan Singh are all caught up in it, but they're all going to be able to continue on to the finish as soon as they get the cars turned in the right direction. And Bethan Kelly is the one who got turned to the inside on the final lap by Christian McMillan, so the 3rd VM Engineering car running into trouble. That was a nasty hit that Kelly took to the inside wall, but it is not quite over yet for McMillan. He comes back up the track in turn 3 and puts 2 of the Hannigan cars into the outside wall. Brannog's up the wall, and D'Ambrosio is almost on her side. The Sparco car once again in trouble on the final lap of the night. She's trying to get the car limp back to the line and is getting passed by several other damaged cars as well. A very hectic green-white checkered for several drivers, but D'Ambrosio is going to manage to take the checkered flag. Once again, however, this is the move that gave Oak Treedye the victory, his 2nd one of the night, as he outbrakes Harold Smith into turn 1, completes the pass cleanly, and sweeps the weekend here in Italy. Congratulations to Oak Treedye, and again, it is a 1-2 finish for Team Quick Fit with Perry Forrester bringing home another 2nd place finish. Harold Smith rounds out the podium for the 2nd race in a row. In fact, the top 4 drivers, as Megan Hamilton is in 4th, are the same drivers who finished in those positions in race 1. Mauro Villar rounds out the top 5 and Christopher Merton finishes in 6th. Those are the only 6 drivers who were not involved in an accident during the green-white checkered, as Christian McMillan still manages to finish in 7th. Pascal Vallet gets Autosport France's best result of the weekend with an 8th place finish. Harriet Brannog's in 9th, and David Savoldelli rounds out the top 10.